in the highlands of northern Ethiopia. The town, once called Roha, holds one of the strangest engineering projects of the Middle Ages. There, workers did not raise churches by stacking blocks. They carved down into solid volcanic tuff, cutting away the surrounding rock until an entire church stood free inside a trench, with windows, doorways, columns, and carved roofs, all shaped from a single block of living stone. 11 of these monolithic churches stand at Lalibela. They were cut largely by hand, and they are still standing, still in use, more than 800 years later. Ethiopian Orthodox tradition attributes the churches to King Gebre Mesqel Lalibela, ruler of the Zagwe dynasty in the late 12th and early 13th centuries. The story says that, as a young man, Lalibela was lifted to heaven in a vision and shown a new Jerusalem. When Jerusalem itself fell to foreign armies, tradition holds that Lalibela set out to build a substitute holy city in the Ethiopian highlands, one that pilgrims could reach without crossing dangerous lands. Whether the king commanded the whole complex or expanded an older sacred site, the result is a unified architectural vision carved directly into the mountain. The numbers hold steady against time. 11 churches make up the complex, split into a northern and an eastern group connected by trenches, tunnels, and a carved channel that tradition calls the River Jordan. The largest, Bet Medhanen Alem, is among the biggest monolithic churches ever cut. The last and most famous, Bet Georgis, the House of St. George, was carved as a single Greek cross, its roof a perfect cruciform relief seen only from above. The complex has survived invasion, weather, and 8 centuries of continuous worship largely intact. The method is what makes Lalibela engineering peculiar. A normal cathedral is assembled from blocks lifted into place. A Lalibela church is the opposite. Workers first outlined a rectangle on the level bedrock, then carved straight down into the volcanic tuff on all 4 sides until a solid block stood free inside a deep trench. Only then did they begin to shape the block itself, carving doorways, windows, columns, and roofs inward and downward. Every cut was subtractive and permanent. There was no adding material back. A single error in the soft rock could not be undone, which makes the precision of the surviving carvings all the harder to explain away. How exactly the churches were cut is the question that haunts every visitor. Ethiopian tradition credits the patient work of steel chisels, hammers, and picks, wielded over what may have been decades. A parallel legend holds that angels labored through the night, doubling what human hands carved by day, a story that reads less as literal history and more as an honest admission that the scale strains belief. Modern scholars point to broader medieval stoneworking traditions and to the long indigenous Ethiopian craft of cutting into soft volcanic rock. None of it makes the geometry any less remarkable. When Jerusalem was captured in 1187, pilgrimage to the holy sites grew far more dangerous for Ethiopian Christians. Whether by coincidence or design, Lalibela rose as a new Jerusalem, a highland substitute with its own River Jordan, its own Calvary, and its own network of sanctuaries cut from the rock. Pilgrims came on foot for hundreds of miles, and they never stopped. To this day, the churches are not ruins. They are working houses of worship, draped in white robes at festivals, tended by priests who trace an unbroken line back to the men who first cut the stone. The site is a UNESCO World Heritage treasure that still functions exactly as it was built to. What survives at Lalibela is the rarest kind of monument, one that refuses to become a ruin. The cross-shaped Bet Georgis still pools rainwater through its carved drainage channels and still leads pilgrims down into its trench. The tunnels and passages that link the 11 churches still carry the faithful from one sanctuary to the next. What does not survive, anywhere in the record, is a clean account of how the labor was organized, how long it took, or how so many workers cut so much hard stone without a single written chronicle of the building itself. The churches are their own document, and they keep their secrets well. A city carved into rose-colored cliffs, a temple cut straight down into a hillside, and 11 churches freed from a single block of Ethiopian rock. The builders of the ancient world understood that sometimes the surest way to make something permanent is to take it away from the mountain rather than add to it. Lalibela still stands because it was never built up to fall. Follow for more forgotten weird history.